Well, welcome back, everybody. Question for you. What does the CIO of the future look like? It's a question that a lot of people are asking these days. And I've got a great answer. Actually, I've got a guest who's going to give us a great answer, Rob Mills of Tractor Supply. Rob is the Executive Vice President overseeing all of technology, all digital commerce, also corporate strategy for Tractor Supply. He also has P&L opportunity. He's also part of the executive committee and other things. Rob is also on public and private boards, which we will be talking about here during the episode. This company is amazing. I am so impressed as I've studied the company. The last 5 years, they have grown 75%. So 2023 revenue was $14.6 billion. Very, very impressive. I want to get this right now. Since 2000, Tractor Supply is amongst the 10 best stocks to own in the S&P 500. I wish I owned a boatload of that stock. It's been on quite a ride. One other important data point, the market cap is greater than that of Best Buy, Macy's, and Kohl's combined. Just staggering. So we're gonna unpack this story of the company, Rob and his story as we go along here. But I just want to first mention, you probably noticed that I am in a pretty cool place. I am at Tractor Supply headquarters in Brentwood, Tennessee, just outside of Nashville. I'm with my new friends here, Doug and Ray. Appreciate you guys, and talk about professionals. This place is amazing. Always great to be with A players. So thank you to you all. And I want to bring in our guest, Rob Mills, and unpack his story. What makes him such a special leader? And I would say I'm welcoming Rob, but actually Rob and the team have welcomed me here at Tractor Supply. So Rob Mills, thanks for having me at your headquarters.
Well, welcome, Dan.
Appreciate you.
Yeah. Good to meet you.
We're gonna have some fun here.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
So amazing story. 2014, you're in this amazing career. You're in this amazing company. You can talk about that if you want. You get the call. And so you come to Tractor Supply as CIO.
Yep.
2018, things got even more interesting.
Yep.
You picked up some additional responsibilities. So talk about that. Talk about the different hats that you wear.
Yeah. So when I got the call, I was actually Chicago-based with a company called Ulta Beauty, which was an amazing experience. But a little bit of my roots were Nashville. Even though I did not grow up here, I had a tight tie with family. And so I got the call, and Tractor being a growing company, I've had a real great opportunity through my career to learn about great leaders, been exposed to great leaders, as well as great organizations. And I would always hear about this Tractor Supply company. So I had the opportunity to come in to chat with the Tractor team. Absolutely fell in love with the brand, the culture, and the mission, and more importantly, what the objective for tech was. And at the time, it was really about how do we transform the organization in speed, but digitally. And I will say this organization, even prior to my arrival, was doing some amazing work. I mean, we were opening up rapid stores, doing a lot of growth in all parts of the organization. So I was really fortunate. I was coming in with a really strong, healthy organization with a lot of commitment. But we needed a leader, or they were looking for a leader that would help transform what tech looked like here. That journey started off very powerful. A lot of focus on our digital transformation. Also looking at where should we be investing the monies based upon the business opportunities. And then ultimately led into the opportunity in 2016, 2017, where I picked up the role of corporate strategy. And the logic there was, everything we were doing had a technology component to it. So how do we drive strategy specifically around digital with tech and drive better alignment there? And then in 2018, I had the privilege of picking up the responsibility for the digital business. So that's anything to do with tractorsupply.com, buy online, pick up in store, direct ship to the customer. And then ultimately now our mobile applications, and really driving a transformation of digital and AI throughout Tractor Supply. So it's been an amazing ride. I'll just end by the thing that has impressed me the most is the culture the value, the people, the relationships. What makes Tractor so unique is just this passion around our team members and our customers at all time and doing what's right and investing in the business for the growth.
You come in the building and you feel it. I mean, I get what you're saying, and we're going to unpack that from the customer perspective, the teammate perspective. But first, that we like to bring in some questions, some questioners, and so I've got some special people who know you well.
Okay.
This first one's a little bit unusual because this is someone that you probably don't know, but is a peer of yours, and you'll find out why.
All right.
Listen to the question. So
let's looking forward to it.
All right.
Hi, Rob. This is Mike Seals, Chief Digital Officer and Senior Vice President of Strategy for Hussman Corporation. First off, congratulations on being featured on Dan's Tech Whisperer podcast. Quite an achievement. Rob, you and I share a unique career path, both carrying responsibilities for business strategy and technology in our organizations. Given this shared experience, I'd love to get your perspective on the evolving role of the CIO and the intersection of strategy and digital leadership. Rob, what advice would you offer to CIOs who may not be as strong on the strategy side? How can they develop and strengthen their strategic thinking skills?
Thanks, Mike. Hey, it's great to hear from you, and congratulations on your success. And we definitely need to connect up soon. So, a couple of things. The role of the CIO has changed dramatically over the last few years. Historically, it's been about just delivering the next project or the next set of initiatives. And as a CIO, having the ability to think enterprise and connect the dots and ensure that you're driving the value back to the business, to me, is our number one job. How I think about it at the end of the day when I leave, I look at two things. One, are we focusing on the team member and giving them meaningful roles and responsibilities that's driving the organization forward and adding value? So how are we helping their career, giving them the education, the tools that they need to advance Tractor Supply? And then the second component, are we delivering the right priorities and value back to the business and the enterprise? And I would say, when I think, and I'm sure you've experienced this as well, Mike, is the first start with thinking strategic is one, you think enterprise and not silo. And the second one is learn the business, get involved in the business, stay connected to the business, understand the pain points. One of the things that myself, the leadership team, my peers, the executive committee, we're out in the field, anywhere from 5 to 10 to 15 days a quarter, listening to our cashiers, our receivers, our DC employees, our team members, understanding what are their pain points and how do we help drive technology to solve that. But on the flip is understanding where's our growth opportunities as an organization and how are we enabling technology and thinking more broader than just the first 12 months, but 18, 36 months down the road. And how do we start laying that foundation and the game work or the gameplay to building towards new capabilities that will ultimately open up new business opportunities and drive productivity or just a better customer experience or team member experience.
Fantastic. I appreciate Mike Seals, and I will definitely make sure the two of you get connected here.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah. There's another part of your story I want to make sure we talk about, Rob, and it's 2018 also was a kind of a cool year for you, which I think we'll be able to figure that out once we hear from this next mystery questioner. So
all right,
let's see who this is.
Working with you now for a few years, I have seen such an incredible business acumen, which is hard to find among technology professionals. I'd like to ask you, where did you develop that? And how did you get so good at being a strategic business person that serves in a technology role?
Well, that was Chris Cole. He is the technology CIO for a company called B&G Foods that I sit on their board of directors. So I've known Chris now for about 6 to 7 years. Amazing leader. And Chris, thank you for the question. So, it started early in my career. I would say 2 aspects about just my general philosophy is one, I'm a curious learner, continuous learner. And I have this huge passion not just to learn from a tech perspective or academically, but really understanding kind of the business and the ins and outs of the business. And it goes back to a little bit of Mike Seal's question as well. When I look at those questions or look at the business, it's about really getting engaged with the business and understanding the pain points, the customer, really going in depth and understanding the customer, and then laying out a roadmap for the future. And so one of the things that I've learned early in my career, it wasn't just about writing code. It wasn't about just, implementing business requirements and sitting in a room and talking about new capabilities or functions, but understanding what are the drivers behind those requirements. Ultimately, what does the business want to achieve? And then leveraging technology to get to that. And so to me, it always starts first, understand the business, understand the customer, understand the current pain points of the organization, and then feed off of that and leverage technology to solve those problems, or most importantly, enable future growth.
Incredible. Well, Chris, thank you. And so public board since 18, and then you're on at least one of the private boards I'm aware of.
Yes, I'm on a board also called realtruck.com. So they're more of a direct consumer, a dealer network, a private board. Very much fits into the lifestyle of Tractor Supply, but more importantly, advancing their capabilities on the direct to consumer. So I have a lot of fun on that board. A great board, a great business. It just, once again, it's about understanding their customer, their market, where do they have the right to win, and then how do you leverage technology to drive productivity improvements. So just in general, make the business more efficient, but enable for future rapid growth. And so it's been a great experience.
It's awesome. Chris highlighted your business acumen, so I'm gonna test that out a little bit here. So, what are some of the numbers that you pay attention to? What are some of the things you're most excited about in terms of the story here at Tractor Supply?
So I kind of put them in three buckets. One, I first look at the operational numbers: sales, profit, general health of the business. What are the drivers of the business? All the things that a smart, day-to-day business leader would look at. Second, I look at usage and adoption rate of some of the technologies that we're implementing. A great example is we introduced last year a new tool called Hey Guru. It's an AI-based tool. And what it does is when you look in our store base specifically, our customers come to our stores. One, we hire our customers. But two, so there's a relationship component where they're part of the community, they understand the community needs, they live the lifestyle, et cetera. But more importantly, they come because we have a level of authority, especially in some of the products and categories. When you're thinking about ag fencing or chemicals, there's a level of complexity that goes into that. And our team members have that knowledge. How do you take that, leveraging their knowledge with AI and all the rich content that we have at Tractor Supply and even out there on the internet, and use it just to drive a more enrichment experience, and especially in a selling environment, to drive more consistency around speed, answer new hires, getting them wrapped up at a faster rate, et cetera. So we deployed this tool called Hey Guru. It is a selling methodology within Tractor Supply. And ultimately, what we've seen from an adoption rate is anywhere from 1 to 15 questions a day, multiplied out by 2,200 stores, where we're averaging 50 to 60,000 questions that are coming through. And a great example could be customer walks in and says, "Hey, I have a flock or chickens and I want to produce more eggs. How do I go about that?" And, using this tool, it could recommend products, it could recommend how you would care, it could recommend different breeds of chickens, et cetera. So it's just another tool to enhance our vision around customer experience, make the team member much more effective and productive, and also at the end of the day, build upon that authority and that trust the customer has with us.
You almost have that perfect blend of authority, knowledgeable thought leaders, but also I feel like I'm in Cheers when I go there, right?
Yeah, Cheers is a great example, but the power of walking into a store is you feel the community and you hear the store manager, the cashier, the receiver, the team lead that knows their customer base extremely well on the first name basis. Their pet as they're walking in the store, the energy behind, and understanding even what's going on in the community from a local creek, down the street flooding to a horse on a property that might be ill, and you're asking about that to a family member, and it's just something you don't see. Like you have this warmth walking into the store, and what we're trying to do with that is how do you take the warmth through our mobile application and bring that to their property? So imagine as a customer, they're on their property, they need help with fencing or repairing something. They need that real-time expertise. They want to see if the product is available. How do I get the product to me now or be able to run over to the store and pick it up? This is the power of the mobile device or the mobile application. It's in their back pocket. It's always with them. How do we use that as a tool to help make the customer's life easier, more efficient, but use our knowledge of our team members back onto the property? So we're always connected with them.
Yeah. And that is very much the case in the 2,200 stores. But talk about the headquarters, the home office, because you've got a mindset here that supports that as well.
Yeah, so we don't call ourselves a head office. We don't call ourselves a headquarters. We call ourselves the store support center.
Right.
And our focus here is about supporting our stores and ultimately the digital business and the call center operations that supports the stores. And, we take a lot of pride when a store has an issue. It could be a tech issue from a register down to a product question, to a signage question. How do we ensure that we're responding with a sense of urgency and commitment to not just one store, but to the field? And that applies to our DC operations as well. We are here to support the field because ultimately we believe you do right by our team members, you give them the tools that they need, you treat them with respect, you have a lot of fun. Ultimately, we'll drive this legendary customer service, this passion that we see in all of our stores at all times, and ultimately it's good for all.
Proof's in the pudding. I mean, it's
and we see it.
It's working.
Yep.
And I spent a lot of time on your 10K, your annual report.
Yep.
And it's a really good read, by the way. There's a lot of good
guidance. We take a lot of pride in that. Yeah.
Yeah, you should. You should. And being responsible for strategy, can you share that? I mean, in terms of what you can share and omni-channel and all that goes with that.
Yeah. So within our strategy team today, we view two components. One, we view it as a team to help support the functional areas, the store, the core business, and help defining and identifying strategic opportunities. And that could be around productivity improvements, that could be around new growth drivers of the business. Also, at the same time, it could be about just how do we improve a process and just make us more efficient and make it easier for our team members. We also view this group as a feeding ground of talent that we can now, as we're rapidly growing, place into other functions of the business. So we have two objectives for this. But we have a very well-disciplined process. One, we're working with the executive team on a daily basis, talking about opportunities, as well as where we have strategic initiatives in place. How are we putting the right controls, tracking, reporting to ensure that we're bubbling up issues and also celebrating the successes at the same time. So we have a very strategic kind of point of view of a methodology to look at market share, TAM opportunities, growth for the business, productivity improvements around margin, but then translate that through a priority exercise down to these top strategic initiatives that ultimately then are shared across the company, resources are formed around them, and we execute extremely well. There's tons of opportunities to always improve every day. And that's what I love about Tractor. We're an 6-year-old company, but we think like a young startup and with extreme focus on that customer and that team member at all time. And that's really our secret sauce. It comes back to our mission and values.
Yeah. I think if I remember right, second year in a row, record customer sat scores, right? So again, proof's in the pudding. Who is the customer? Like, I'm a customer,
Yeah.
right? So talk about who, because you know your customer.
Yeah, I mean, we have several different customer segments, but it's essentially really simple. It's the customer who has this aspiration of living life out here. And that could be anywhere from how I'm firing up the fire pit on a Friday evening in my backyard and spending good quality time with my family, to I have property that might have horses or cattle or dogs or cats. So the animals and the pets is very part of kind of who we are and the community that we live in. But it's essentially a customer base that has a passion for land, pet, animal, and just living kind of that rural out here lifestyle.
Yeah. Life out here. You see that a lot, right? The way you
That's
think.
what we believe in.
Yeah.
It's aspiration.
Right. One of the numbers I remember from your 10K that really blew me away is the average per store sales.
Mm-hmm.
That's a game changer.
Yeah. You know, one of the things at Tractor, there's so many things I'm impressed with Tractor over the last, 11 years of being here. But we're a test and learn organization, and not just from a technology perspective, but across. When you look at our processes as well as our products. And so we're putting a lot of focus on how do we drive innovation, newness, and just ensuring that we have the right products at the right times, and we allow the customer to shop as they want. That could be in store, online. An interesting stat is for buy online, pick up in store or ship from store. So think about all orders that are facilitated outside of the four walls of the stores or inside the four walls of the store from a digital perspective. It's about 75 to 80% of our orders are fulfilled through a store. And that's something you don't see a lot in retail. Right. And so, we focus on productivity, but ultimately the focus is on that legendary service, driving newness with our products, innovation with our products, and ultimately trying to make life easier for our customer through convenience, offering different shopping capabilities, delivery, pickup in store, et cetera. And then ultimately also at the same time, making sure that we're giving the team members tools to be very efficient. You take those three equation, ultimately adds up to store productivity.
So Rob, we've been talking about, for you, I'm going to call it the easy stuff, the fun stuff. Now we're going to talk about the hard stuff. Talk about you. We're going to talk about Rob the leader. Okay. And I'm going to do that through a mystery questionnaire to get us started. So
all right, learn another one.
Learn a little bit about your leadership philosophies. So
okay.
We'll tee that up for you.
Got it.
Hi. You brought a number of tech tools to life under very tight timeframes. Talk about how you balance speed and accuracy, and how you motivate teams who are working under pressure.
You probably recognize that voice.
I do recognize that voice. That is Hal Lawton, our CEO and president, who I have the honor to report to. He is an amazing leader and has done some quite amazing stuff for this organization, especially over the last few years. So my philosophy is pretty simple, is, one, focus on the team member first. That's both on the tech as well as on the business side. How do you ensure that we're driving with a sense of speed, but empowering the teams to drive the solution and letting them to be in control of delivering that solution? And I feel from a leadership perspective, one of my primary jobs is to remove barriers, help them through decision-making and priorities and giving clear priorities and in creating kind of that framework. But also at the same time, making sure, and it does go back to priorities, that we're focused on the right things. I see too many times businesses and IT organizations that they just have a lot going on. But, at the end of the day, are they really focused on the right things that's moving the dial?
Yeah.
And so when I think about philosophy, I always think team member first, Are we doing what's right for them? Are we creating value and a learning opportunity where they could continue to grow? That builds excitement behind them. That builds commitment behind that team member. And then lastly, we have an organization that takes a lot of pride in execution, but strong quality execution. And so, that's built into who we are as a company and the DNA. So you take my philosophy, the DNA of the company, pull all that together. It's extremely, extremely powerful recipe for delivering with accuracy and speed. The last thing that I'll say is we naturally have a culture of agility. And what I love about this organization, we can pivot, not just tech, but also business, based on the needs of our business, the needs of our customers, and the needs on the team member. And we've done that over the years by setting up an architecture and a tech solution that gives us a lot of flexibility, but also built a culture that drives around, accepting change, embracing change, driving a really sense of flexibility and agility. And then lastly, just having a lot of fun. And that's an area that we need to always focus on is we work hard, we work really hard. The team does an amazing job. I am so proud of this organization, not just the tech team, but the business and the collaboration, the partnership that we see. But how you move fast is when you're clear with your communication and you're focused on the right things.
Yeah, that clarity is amazing. And agility is, especially in your business, right? Because customer sentiment changes pretty dynamic.
Yeah, the needs of the business changes.
Right.
Customer, economy, weather, you name it. There's just a lot of different variables that come in to operating a retail business. And, we have a good lens and a good understanding what are those drivers and those optics, and we're able to be flexible and shift fairly quickly.
Well, thank you to Hal Lawton. And I feel like I'm sitting in Hal's chair because when he's on Mad Money, right, he's a rock star. He's so good.
He knows it. Trust me, something I've learned quite a bit from him.
Yeah, quite a skill.
Yeah, it sure is.
So we got the CEO perspective. We heard from Mike Seals. We've heard from some folks, but we're going to hear from someone else now who knows you well. Another mystery questioner.
Okay.
For another angle, a good friend of mine. So listen in.
Okay.
Rob, you and your organization are the recipients of numerous technology awards and have a reputation for innovation, value creation, and ensuring the business has what it needs to deliver strong results. What advice would you give future leaders as they think about leadership and preparing an organization to stay ahead of change and their organization's needs?
Well, first thing, thank you, Joy Brown. Joy is on the board of directors for Tractor Supply. We have an amazing board, which is really has shown the commitment and the support of our strategic initiatives as well as the tech team. The level of engagement and understanding how tech can enable the growth of the business, but also appreciate this stuff isn't easy. And, we have to work through it. And we have to think on our feet and move forward. We have been recognized, especially over the past few years, with a lot of our innovation, our technology advancements, even the scaling of our business over the last 5 years with minimal to no disruption. And that shows that we've made some good decisions over the past 10 years in putting the right infrastructure, people in place, solutions in place to do that. But at the end of the day, it is, to me, from a leadership perspective, you'll hear two consistent things. You focus on the team and you make sure that you're empowering them, giving them the skills, the tools to drive a level of innovation, but also at the same time, you have clear priorities. And what we try to do is balance our energy of how do you drive a consistent kind of process improvement, not just within the business, but also IT. Just how do we become smarter, more efficient with our own operations? How do we ensure that we're delivering on kind of the key rocks or strategies for the company, but also taking the time to invest in some of the future technologies and learning? And some of the technologies might not play out, and that's okay. We learn from it. Sometimes we're a little bit too early and we have to slow it down or think differently about it. But where we have a technology such as AI, Gen AI specifically, how do we double down on that opportunity and use technology to help solve these business problems? So, when I think about the future leaders, I would say it is about driving results, but just more importantly, it's about knowing your team, bringing your team along that journey, developing the team, showing empathy, caring for the team, and also at the same time, having fun along the way.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Joy. Just such a gifted leader, and it must be
Amazing.
interesting relationship because you're both CIOs, you're both on public boards.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that's a
We
special.
share a lot of notes.
I bet. Yeah. What a gift.
Yeah.
And like you say, the gift of a tech savvy board.
Yeah.
CEO. What a gift. So we've heard from your CEO. We've heard from a board member. I've got one more for you.
Okay.
So let's check it out.
All right.
Rob, you're a great example of a leader who casts an overall vision and then empowers the team to develop the plan and deliver results. At the same time, you remain close enough to the work that you're able to lean in to provide more targeted support when needed. How do you strike the right balance between empowerment and delegation while also staying close enough to the work to more actively engage when the team needs that level of support?
So thank you, Brandon Jacobs, who is our VP of Corporate Strategy, joined us a little bit over a year, has been a great addition to the team. So now this kind of shifts into more of the strategy side of the house. So a little bit going back to my philosophy is it's about us collectively as an organization setting our priorities. But then at the end of the day, how do you build teams that truly feels a sense of empowerment and ownership? And that's just fundamentally is my belief is, the teams have to feel they own it and they have a sense of accountability towards it. One of the things I like to do, though, is to create my own operating systems around how do I check in with the teams, look at core metrics that we need to be achieving, using my past experiences around where the pitfalls could fall into so I can help kind of influence a little bit of the thinking where it makes sense, also share some of my experiences, and then also letting the team learn. And through that might be some hiccups along the way. And there's nothing wrong with that. But understanding kind of the guardrails and the boundaries to make sure that we don't get too far off of our objective, what we need to deliver, but also at the same time, how do we use initiatives, projects, just overall improving the business as a learning ground for the team to learn. And so I look at it as set a clear objective and making sure we're all aligned on that, communicate frequently, check in with the team, use my expertise or the collective expertise of the team to understand where are the pitfalls so we can learn from our past. Also, at the same time, understanding what are those guardrails to ensure that we're protecting those guardrails to setting up the team for success. And most of the time where I come in is to help remove barriers or to help drive clarity around priorities. That's where I think I have we have an amazing organization, amazing team, not just in IT, but you'll hear that I say repeatedly on the business side, the collaboration here is extremely powerful, more than I've seen in many, many, many other organizations. But also at the end of the day, how team members learn and we create the future leaders of the organization is by empowerment and learning. And so my job is to remove it and make sure that we ask the right questions at the right time and we help influence the thinking when it needs to be helped.
I mean, thank goodness there were people when we were coming up that allowed us to do that, right? To go out and take the shot, to go out and maybe stub our toe. Can you think back to a leader in the journey who did that for you, that really gave you that chance to go out and?
I have had some amazing leaders in my journey. Early in my career, I remember specifically a few vice presidents. One I'll call out specifically, his name is Steve Junk. He's retired. he was all about giving opportunities to new leaders to learn, and wasn't fearful about them shining through the process.
Hmm.
And that was really key to me. I feel too many times leaders don't listen, and our job is leaders to listen.
Yeah.
Listen and learn, and then use our experience to help guide the next set of leaders that we're grooming within this organization. And he is somebody who taught me that. I think of another leader who was a former CEO of Ulta Beauty, and she was amazing. She is amazing. She taught me about the power of collaboration and bringing diverse teams together in the sense of, skills and experiences, and bringing those skills together to solve bigger problems, and the power behind that. And then I think about how what he's taught me specifically, but more importantly, has had such a huge impact on the organization. The visionary, the setting of the larger priorities, but also at the same time, really focusing on what are the top priorities to move this organization forward, and then putting an operating system or asking the right questions to ensure progress is being made. And so, I look back across all my leaders, and I could probably name another 5 that have all taught me something. I look at those nuggets and how I've taken those nuggets and kind of put them a part of my tool belt, but more importantly, then morphed them into my leadership style. And also the trends, going back to Mike's first question around what's the future CIO? How do you evolve that to think much more broad? Because today's world for a CIO is not about delivering the next project. It's not about delivering the next cool technology or the buzz technology. It's about having a voice at the table, having a point of view on the business, not just today's challenges, but the future. And then how are you building teams, structure, projects or initiatives or activities to accomplish those future goals? And so our number one job is to think as a business leader, think enterprise, and then functionally, how do we align a tech team to deliver those capabilities or ultimately those objectives that the business has?
So good. So good. One of the things I do is I get to hang out with people like you and Joy Brown and Mike Seals, and I study the patterns. Like, what do you all have in common? And one of the things I've seen recently, I call leading with heart. We talked about this at dinner last night.
Yep.
HEART being an acronym. So HEART is you all lead naturally with your humble leaders, empathy, that whole listening thing, adaptable, resilient, building resiliency in your people, and transparent, right? So you got all this stuff going on, but at the same time, you still balance that with, we still hold people accountable, right? We still ask hard questions, have hard conversations, and we deliver results. But there's a balancing act there, right? And I imagine that resonates with you in terms of too much results, you lose your people, too much heart, you lose your job, right?
And it is a balancing act. I will say earlier in my career, I was probably too far on the deliver for results. And some of that was just where I was at in my career. I was motivated by kind of that next big thing. And there was energy behind it. But the thing that I learned early in my career, it's fairly simple, but it's very key. And it starts and stops with the people. And to me, it's about understanding what motivates the individual, what's going on in their personal life. What are they excited about? So a little bit of the motivation, but the learning opportunity. How do they help and think through business problems or solving bigger issues? And having a connection. And, you've heard me talk about our values, our mission, and the power of Tractor. That's something that I will tell you was so extremely impactful for me personally when I came to Tractor, because it was about the relationships and the people focus, the team member focus. And to me, that played exactly into my leadership style. I always believe it's about having the connection with that team member at every level of the organization, understanding them, supporting them, helping them grow. Fundamentally, we all come in wanting to do great work and do good stuff. And if you start with that mindset and understanding where there could be challenges with delivery, or just general opportunities that you find, especially in tech, most of the time you could work through that and still meet the end result, but you use it as a teaching and a coaching opportunity for an individual. So I'm a firm believer you start with the heart, but of course you have to balance, because at the end of the day, you have a business that's counting on you delivering new capabilities to grow the business, or to drive productivity improvements or offer a better customer experience. And we need to deliver on that. So we take a lot of pride. And I see that with the teams across this organization. They're committed, they're accountable, but also at the same time, they got to have the heart. And I fundamentally believe that's where it starts.
And you sensed that the first time you walked in the door. You came here for an informal hour chat.
Yeah.
Over coffee. How'd that first meeting go?
It was great. Long story short, I had a connection with the previous CEO. We had never met, but we both had a tour of duty at Sears. So we started off the conversation of just kind of sharing some of the learnings through that. That turned into an opportunity of walking the building, meeting people, and just seeing the community and the family that's here. We spend a lot of time at work. We spend a lot of time interacting with our peers and our coworkers. And in many cases, they become an extension of our family. And what I saw that about Tractor is it wasn't just the community of the Tractor team members, but the connections with the store, the DC, the field, and ultimately the customer. And to me, when you look at all those components, that's the secret sauce.
Yeah.
It is our mission about being that dependable supplier for our customer, working hard on delivering on our commitments, having fun while we do it, but ultimately ensuring that we're here for our team members and providing that legendary service at the same time with our customer base. And it's very clear and it's very simple, but it's very powerful.
So simple, but very few pull it off. And that's the magic to me.
And we absolutely I feel that is our secret sauce of what makes us a very unique and special company.
Yeah. Something else you talked a lot about is the whole idea of being clear with your communication, kind of intent, priorities. You have a rock star communicator here, Trisha Whittemore. Let's talk about Trisha. We don't have a mystery questioner, but she was huge in setting this up, getting these mystery questioners. I want to give her a shout out because we're both University of New Hampshire alum. So
Trisha's awesome.
Go Wildcats. But yeah, I've learned a lot from her just from our interactions.
I mean, what you probably find with her, as well as other leaders in this organization, we take a lot of pride in being accountable. We take a lot of pride in ensuring that we're doing our best job of communicating effectively and clearly. And also at the same time, we're planners. We organize not just for kind of what I'll call the happy path, which you hear a little bit about in IT, but also, how do you build contingencies and have a plan B, C, et cetera. And then you take those communication skills with just having the empathy, the connection with the team member, kind of the connection to the organization. And how can you not be successful? How can you not be good? I mean, it's a recipe for power of driving success within the organization. And we do feel communication is key to our team members. We're extremely approachable. We put a lot of pride of communicating often, transparent, frequently. And, we do that through our town halls. We do that through informal discussions with leaders, listening sessions, surveys, of course, that many organizations have. But even just walking the halls of our store support center, the amount of interactions that you have with the team members just to understand, one, what's going on in their personal life and sharing some of those excitements or things that they might be dealing with. But also on the flip side, what are the challenges that they're facing as a leader? How do you remove that? To me, it just is once again, one of our secret sauce. And it's one of our core values is communication within this company.
Right. Well, one of your other special secret sauces, you do a lot in the communities that where you operate. 2,200 stores. I think you're in 49 states. I was on your annual report, but like $16 million of give back to your community. So pretty special. So we're not quite there with our give back, but $350,000 worth of scholarships we've given through the podcast.
Yeah.
And you know how this works, our Tech for Good.
Yeah.
And we love to give these scholarships to organizations that can benefit, can leverage. We want to amplify them.
Yeah.
But is there a maybe a nonprofit that's related to STEM that you're a big supporter of?
Yeah. So one, thank you for that. Appreciate that. Appreciate the support. I will say just big picture at Tractor, we don't view ourselves necessarily, we have 2,200 plus stores. We view ourselves that we serve 2,200 plus communities. And because our mindset is we are here to serve our communities and our customers and the team members that live in those communities. And that applies back to the tech environment too. And, and one of the challenges that I could, share with all my CIO peers that I'm sure they would bring up in the top 5, it's about recruiting and getting great talent. It's hard, especially in some of the emerging technologies. And so over the years, we have made significant partnership investments, created new opportunities for the communities through different community colleges, tech organizations, et cetera. But one that I specifically want to call out is Nashville State. Nashville State is a community college here. It serves essentially Middle Tennessee, but others as well. And it is a program through the years that we've implemented where we're bringing in students and offering internship programs, externship programs, earn for credit programs. We even set up a small replication of our store or our facility in a classroom setting on their campus, because in many cases, they didn't maybe have transportation to come to us. And so how do we come to them and help encourage that learning opportunity? And the success from the program has just been tremendous. The number of hires and just well committed, educated, thoughtful, caring, I could go on and on of the students that we brought into this organization who now over the years have continued to grow and do some amazing stuff is extremely powerful. So, the group that I would support because of the broadness, and I focus on technology, but they also support other groups here at Tractor as well. But the partnership that we have brought out specifically with Nashville State and specifically their leader, Dr. Jackson, is just somebody I have an utmost respect for, but an organization that aligns with our values and ultimately is about creating new learning opportunities for their students. But, it's a pipeline for us as well.
Talk about a win-win. I mean, that's amazing. And with all your growth, you're going to need that talent, right? To be able to support that. Well, we're kind of winding down. I want to be respectful of your time. And I know the studio has got a lot going on. It's a lot
always busy.
A lot of communication going on here.
Yeah.
But a couple of guests, I've got here, we got to keep our guests hydrated. So
there you go. I love
Tech
it.
Whispers Yeti.
Okay, great.
And also,
well, thank you.
If Brian and I were writing this book today, Confessions of a Successful CIO, you would be in it if we were writing it today. So this is really a book of stories of great leaders, which thank you for setting the bar and for sharing so much, and appreciate you very much. And again, thanks for all your hospitality here.
No problem. Welcome. We appreciate you visiting our store support center. Definitely get out in the store. I know you have some land. You're in our stores very frequently, so we're always curious to hear and learn from you as well. So, but thank you for that, and thank you for bringing back a larger purpose to the CIO community, driving these connections and learnings is very key, not just for today's leadership, but building for future leaders.
Yeah, so good. I will definitely test the AI. I want to ask those questions
go.
on how to get the ducks laying more, or how to, you get the wheels turning. But
There you go.
Well, there you have it. We have seen what I think is the future of the CIO role through Rob, through his stories, the different hats he wears. And I think he really sets that bar in such a classy way. But there's more, right? So as you know, Rob and I are going to spend more time together. We're going to work on an article for CIO.com. And we're going to unpack more of the secret sauce, more of how Rob and the team are leveraging digital and technology and strategy to really help the company win. So with that, I'll wish you all well, and we'll see you all next time.
You've been listening to Tech Whisperers, inside the playbook of the best digital leaders, a Woolette and Associates podcast. Keep connected with us by subscribing to the show in your favorite podcast player. If you like what you've heard, please rate the show, as this helps us connect the world's best digital leaders with those who aspire to learn, grow, and thrive in this amazing profession. Thanks for listening. Until next time.